Hey guys, what's going on? I got 100 books here to show you, some cool stuff going to the eBay store. But first, I just got back from Goodwill, and let me show you some items fresh from the book mines. First, appropriately, is A Little Life, which is my bookstore's all-time bestseller. And I think this is the most pristine copy I have found. And there's the sticker still on it for you. Next is a book called Still Life, which looks brand new, absolutely beautiful. I don't know if this is going to make it to my eBay store, because when my wife sees it, she's definitely going to put it on her own TBR. Kind of a bold claim on the front of this: a tonic for wanderlust and a cure for loneliness. All in one book. I mean, that makes me want to read it. I'll give it that much. The Politics of Oligarchy. These kind of books are always gambles, but it's from the Cambridge University Press. It was in pretty good condition. Sometimes these sell for high dollar amounts. Sometimes it takes a while for them to sell though. But for the low price of $1, actually 50 cents, because yellow is the color of the week, it's probably worth the risk. We'll see if it's actually worth anything. I'll be flashing some prices on the screen somewhere over there. And lastly, Green Eggs and Ham, Party Edition, which I think just means it's shiny. Not exactly sure though. Unfortunately, as soon as I bought this, I noticed that it had some decent damage right there. I bought it because a friend of ours is having twins, and for her baby shower, she requested kids books. And my wife's name is Sam, so she wanted to give this one, and I found it the day after we realized we needed it. So I'm trying to figure out what the etiquette is on giving used books. Obviously, you can give a used book to someone and it's not a big deal. And I'm thinking, especially for a child who's going to have no idea what the condition of the book is, so it's more for the parents. And I think in this case, you know, if it was just some dog-eared pages or something, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But this is kind of significant damage, and I don't think I'm going to give this as a gift. But I'm just curious. What would you give this? Would you give this as a gift to a friend? Maybe not for a baby shower. You know, that's a bit more of a formal affair. This is funny, actually. I just got a comment right before I started filming on my top 10 all-time science fiction video. The comment said, "Wow, this guy can't seem to give us an opinion without giving us 3 opinions about his own opinion. He should be paying us all to go to therapy after watching this." And of course that was discouraging, and I think it was meant to be discouraging, and I've gotten plenty of those other comments before. But this one was true, and I just proved it that it's true, because I always have an opinion, and then I look at it from a different viewpoint to see if the opinion holds. And doesn't everybody do that? Doesn't everybody need to have a bit of a critical opinion about their own opinion to see that it makes sense when compared to other opinions? I don't know, but I'm hoping I'm not bombarding you guys with a bunch of different viewpoints about my own viewpoint. I'm probably not, and I'm probably giving this guy too much credit. So let's move on. Okay, into the 100 books here. Everybody's favorite, The Lord of the Rings. This is the special Silver Jubilee edition. Hopefully all those words will fit in the listing. What I really like about this edition is the colors. Each one has its own colors. They didn't try and do any spine mosaics or anything, which, you know, I like that as well, but I also like when each book is its own personality, and especially when they use these kind of bold colors. Really awesome. I was looking for the Fellowship of the Ring in that edition for a long time. Finally found it, but I still need another one, because I have 2 Two Towers and another Return of the King. This one, still in the slipcase, beautiful. I found at a library sale that I just went to last weekend. It was the biggest library sale I've ever been to. And I hadn't been to one for a while because they were making me feel kind of gross. I don't know exactly what. But this one was a huge success because I decided to put some limitations on myself. Because if you've ever been to a big library sale, you know that people get a little bit crazy. It's a bit of a frenzy. I don't know if it's book greed or some adrenaline rush people get from getting books, but it is a chaotic experience that really stresses me out. And you kind of feed into it just by being there and wanting to find some nice books yourself. You kind of have to join in the melee in order to compete to get the books. At least that's how you feel. But here are the 3 rules that I implied. This is really nice condition on these books. Realizing for the first time. 1 hour maximum. 1 bag of books maximum. And you know, like a big grocery vinyl bag. And lastly, and most importantly, no research on the phone, no scanning the books. I feel like that itself takes the most enjoyment out of it. It turns it into work, it turns it into something you're doing for financial gain, as opposed to something you're doing just because you love books, which is a struggle I've been dealing with from like the beginning of this channel, the beginning of this store, is that I have a passion for books, I have a passion for reading, and turning it into a financial venture can be a little scary. Can be a little dangerous. So trying to avoid losing my passion, which seems reasonable. Here are some absolutely beautiful books by Jane Austen. I would guess that you would call these leather bound, even though these are obviously not actually leather. They're Canterbury classics. I think they call them word cloud classics. But in my experience, a word cloud is a amalgamation of words like this, but just the most commonly used ones, whereas these are quotes from the book. But the best part is this inside cover. I love that. Like vintage wallpaper. Absolutely beautiful. Got Persuasion there. Some more beautiful vintage wallpaper. That's probably my favorite one right there. Emma. Oh yeah. Love that. I need to get some of that for the back of some of my little bookshelves. And lastly, Sense and Sensibility, where they change the script a little bit. It could still be vintage wallpaper, but more like 60s, 70s, as opposed to the other stuff, which seemed a little bit older. All right, here's something else I got at that huge book sale. Margaret Atwood box set trilogy. I have not heard of it. The Mad Adam trilogy. And actually, I just was realizing I have never read anything by Margaret Atwood. I watched some of The Handmaid's Tale, so I don't feel compelled to read it because I know most of the story. And that seems to be a box I need to check, literally. Literarily. My wife actually read The Year of the Flood a little while ago. And I wonder if this isn't actually like a trilogy where it's a continuation, but it's just different stories in the same world. I don't know. All right, here is an absolutely beautiful 3-pack. A 3-pack that I am proud to sell in my store. Ishiguro, vintage, not the age, but the publisher. And they obviously go together, which is why it's such a nice 3-pack. We got Nocturnes, which I haven't heard of before, but it looks like a beautiful book. We got Never Let Me Go, which of course I've talked about, which is a great book. Actually, I just let my dad borrow this book, or I just gave him a copy that I found. And he was talking about it saying, yeah, I saw that twist coming by like page 20. And I was like, what? Really? Page 20? He's like, yeah, there was a bunch of clues that kind of gave it away. Advanced reader, I guess. I don't know, this is like a blood stain on the back or something. This is not helping the sale of this on my eBay store. I'm sure I can get that out, but it's a grisly looking stain. And lastly, The Remains of the Day, which is another common one I see pretty often. All right, another absolutely beautiful 3-pack, which you guys have seen before, but His Dark Materials, this one with the subtle spine mosaic, which I really love. I don't think I've sold the one that I showed last time, but this one is in much better condition actually, almost brand new. I wonder if this came with a slipcase at some point. Probably did. But anyways, that's a for sure sale. Frederick Bachman 3-pack, another favorite. This one is the ultimate Frederick Bachman 3-pack. It's called A Man Called Ove, which I think is probably his most popular book. They just made a show out of it. Anxious People, which is a new one, and Beartown, which I also hear people talk about a lot. I don't normally buy these classics. It's just your run-of-the-mill Barnes & Noble classic, but I saw them all on the shelf together, and they were big names. You got Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, And you got the Scarlet Letter. And then the biggest name of all, well, that's super arguable, but Frankenstein. So it makes sense to lot these up because if someone wants to read classics, these are kind of, I don't want to call them surface level classics, but really well-known classics. Probably all of these books you would read in school. Whereas sometimes I just get this random assortment of classics and I have like Moby Dick selling with Plato's Republic and Pride and Prejudice. It doesn't really make any sense. Really, I should get a whole bunch of classics together and then figure out which ones work best with each other. So I'll try to work on that. All right, Colleen Hoover. Another bestseller 3-pack. And another one I could use some more knowledge on. I don't know if these books go together. They could be parts of series that I'm messing with. But I just sold the other Colleen Hoover 3-pack that I showed in the last 100 books video. It's going to Guam, and it's been like a month in transit. So the person's messaging me saying, hey, where is it? And I messaged the post office saying, hey, where is it? A tale as old as time itself. All right, I don't know if anyone remembers these books. Dot Hack. Back when I was a kid, this was a video game and a show and perhaps a card game and apparently a series of books. It's not manga. It smells really strange. It doesn't smell bad. It's not manga. It's actually a book. Kind of perfumey, but also kind of foody. I'm not sure how I'm going to describe that in the listing. Oh man, this is going to be a tough one. Vintage perfume. I think that's sugarcoating it a little bit. Maybe just like not an unpleasant odor. Because you use the word odor, which is kind of a negative connotation. I don't know, maybe these don't even sell at all. We'll find out. Okay, Nora Roberts. The Gallaghers of Ardmore trilogy. These are very beautiful books. I like how the front cover opens up to this nice landscape scene. And it's got like this scalloped edge, which is pretty new. And also deckled. It's deckled. So again, this is one I saw all right next to each other on the shelf. And I'm like, that'll probably sell. So maybe it will. We'll see. Oh, here we go. My favorite 3-pack of this whole thing. I'm not sure if anyone else played Warcraft 3 when they were a kid, but I was completely all about it. And I didn't read the novels when I was a kid. I did read the StarCraft novels, but not these. But what's most exciting is what I found inside of them. It's a bookmark, as you may have guessed. And I think it tops Ray Martini's business card, if you were around for that video. And that was a good find, but not quite as good a find as these bookmarks right here. Original Warcraft 3 Undead and Night Elf bookmarks. Hopefully there's at least one person out there who played this game when they were a kid and can appreciate these, but just compare them to maybe finding like a Halo bookmark out there, or a Harry Potter bookmark, or a Neopets bookmark, or a Pokemon bookmark. Pokemon bookmark, that's a good one. Or some piece of entertainment that you got really into. That's what this is for me. And it comes at a good time because I just bent my previous favorite bookmark, which is this picture of a wolf from some random fantasy card game. I'm not quite sure. And I just ripped that out of Childhood's End, which I'm reading right now. And that reminds me, I'm looking for another vintage sci-fi first contact story. I read The Mote in God's Eye. I'm reading this one next, and I want to fill it out with a third old sci-fi first contact story. So what do you got? Let me know. Appreciate it. Thank you. I want to put these on display up here. The only shame is that there's 4 races in the game. There's Night Elf, Undead, Orc, and Human. So now I'm going to want to find the Orc and Human ones, and that probably implies buying them on eBay, which maybe I'll do. Okay, I'm not sure if these are Nancy Drew ripoffs or if Nancy Drew ripped this off. It's called Meg. This old, what I imagine to be detective, little girl detective things. The Secret of the Witch's Stairway. seasonality there. The Treasure Nobody Saw. The Ghost of Hidden Springs. Maybe this is all Halloween themed. And The Mystery of the Black Magic Cove. Wow. My wife will be happy about that because she's always asking me what I'm putting up there for like back to school or what I'm putting up there for Halloween. And I don't really think about it in those terms because that's kind of like the marketing aspect, right? And I'm not big into the marketing aspect. And also, I don't want to think about fall until it's fall. And I don't want to think about Halloween until it's October. And I know I'm in the minority there. And I've already entered a few arguments where it's just like I'm being seen as some kind of a gatekeeper. But it's like 90 degrees in my house right now. And people are talking about Halloween, and it just messes with you, right? You're like, I want to be in today where it's 90 degrees and it's hot, and not months in the future. You know, it's about the mindfulness and it's about the living in today, the living in now. But I'm not going to die on that hill, so whatever. I would have absolutely loved these as a kid. They are shiny, and they are about dragons. So that's about all you could ask for. Wings of Fire graphic novel. They are absolutely beautiful. I think like a bookstore must have went out near me recently because I've been finding a lot of these brand new sets of books just right next to each other on the shelf. You'd think that they'd have a more profitable way of liquidating their stock instead of just donating it to Goodwill, but maybe that's what they do. I'm not quite sure. These are brand new. Like new, some rounded corners. And very similarly, I probably wouldn't have been as interested in these as a kid, but the Babysitter's Club, they are shiny, so they got that going for it. And I do like the color choice, to be honest. I want to give these as a gift to someone. It's like a very beautiful set. I don't know a girl in the right age range for them, unfortunately. Maybe I should look into some kind of charity near me, like a halfway house that takes books, and every once in a while when I find something nice that some young girl would really appreciate, just give them away. I read these when I was a kid. It's called Island. It is a straight up Lord of the Flies ripoff, and I doubt they sell for very much. I might even take a loss on these. But I remember enjoying them. And it was a nice set right there on the shelf. I do have like a small YA section, not even YA, but this is like middle grade section in my library, awaiting some eager readers of my own. So maybe I'll keep those. This took me a long time to compile. The Mysterious Benedict Society. What I'm hoping is all 6 books. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then perhaps 2 prequels. Or a prequel and like a unofficial sequel or something. They're very nice. They're almost in new condition. I found the first one probably like 6 times, and it took me a while to find all the other ones. This one was a red herring. I thought I had found one, but this just has the same kind of ribbon text. This is The Mirror Visitor Book 2. And I'll probably just sell this by itself because I haven't found anything similar and I'm tired of holding on to it. All right, now let's get into some bestsellers here. The Rose Code, Kate Quinn. And this one has a little surprise inside. Not as exciting as that surprise. Well, maybe for you it's that is exciting. But it's got a little note from Kate Quinn herself, just saying like, hey, hope you enjoy this book. Here's what it's about, which is kind of cool. And it is signed by her, which is super cool. I think this is the first time, no, it's the second time, no, it's the third time I have bought a book and been surprised with a signature. This one I'm going to keep in the book, so whoever buys it will get that. The Night Circus, beautiful book, good condition, happy to have it in my store. Midnight Library, pretty much every one of these videos will probably include a copy of this. I probably sell it for less than it's worth because I really want to sell this book. I'm really eager to get that message out there in the world. So it always goes like right away. Killers of the Flower Moon. I think this is some nonfiction. I should probably read some nonfiction, actually. I always have a blind spot to that. The Second Life of Marielle West. This is the most stereotypical book cover out there. A woman with her back turned. Next time you're in Barnes & Noble or Target, check out the book section and take a note of how many front covers have a woman with their back turned. It is surprising. I don't know anything about these. It's 2 books by Yasunari Kawabata. Snow Country and First Snow on Fuji. So they've got some theming elements going for them. We'll see. Maybe worth nothing, maybe worth something. I don't know. Here's a beautiful book. The Bloody Chamber by Angela Carter. Penguin 75th Anniversary Edition, so you know it's got to be some kind of foundational work. And it's got an introduction by Kelly Link, who I think is a sci-fi author. I've read some short work of hers. Could be fantasy also. This one unfortunately had some sticker damage. It is still a beautiful book though. And I wonder what it is. Sexy Vampires, Female Desire, Fairy Tales Reworked in Contemporary Settings. Oh, okay. So yeah, really foundational for a lot of stuff today. Interesting. All right, just so you are all aware, the horses know. What do they know? I don't know, but be aware of that. Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. Whenever I see that sticker, I know I'm probably going to buy it. They usually have some kind of maybe a signature inside or some different illustrations. This one is called Homecoming. And another Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. This one looks a lot nicer. Let me just scrape off that gunk before I show you. Heart of the Sun Warrior. That's a beautiful book right there. Unfortunately, it's book 2 in the Celestial Kingdom duology. And it's always kind of awkward just to sell a book 2, but that's gorgeous. That's gorgeous. Another gorgeous book. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Maybe time travel? I'm not sure. Who doesn't like The Great Wave by Hokusai? Or maybe it's just called The Wave. I'm not sure. And shout out to the sponsor of this video, Book of the Month. For just one small monthly... No, I'm just kidding. They're not sponsored. Actually, when I see Book of the Month on the shelf, I generally shy away from it because they're typically not worth that much. But this one caught my eye, and I think I did look it up, and it is worth, I don't know, like 10 bucks or something. The Hearth Witches Compendium. Here is that seasonality that my wife will enjoy again. I think this is just a cookbook, but it's classified as magic and witchcraft. So maybe it's got some interesting stuff in here. Oh, you can make a fertility talisman. 3 almonds, 2 walnut halves, 3 acorns, it's just a bunch of seeds, and 3 grains, exactly 3 grains of rice. Assemble at the full moon and place it under your pillow. Interesting. Okay, we got The Trackers by this guy who I know wrote that massive book that everybody had, and I can't remember the name of it. So maybe this is like his second book, which is undoubtedly also going to be popular. Murder Book, which is a graphic novel focused around one of those people that's obsessed with true crime stories and hopefully serves as a warning that maybe that's not the best thing to focus on in life, is the worst things that happen and the worst people to ever live. Or maybe it doesn't. Halloween related as well. Halloween related as well. I really think that Halloween should start October 1st. We're going to cut that out. We're going to cut all that out. Here we got a book in beautiful condition. We the Drowned. Don't know anything about it. Absolutely gorgeous. Probably sell just on that merit. But yeah, this is new. This is Barnes & Noble new. Crisp corners and everything. All right, here are some guaranteed sales. Warhammer 40K books. My highest ever sale was a Warhammer 40K book, some new, very shiny hardcover, must be pretty collectible. I don't know how much these will be worth, but they're very easy to lot up and sell that way. This was a video game, I didn't know that was Warhammer related. Some of them are just ratty paperbacks, but again, you shove them together and they sell pretty well. Especially these in the Horus Heresy Series, which apparently is a series that's hundreds of books long. So whenever you find those, dump them together. I don't know if there's any kind of continuation. They don't seem to be numbered in any way. Warhammer Online, that must be defunct for a very long time. Here's Dan Abnett, the Grandmaster himself. He has written so many words about Warhammer 40k and other worlds. It's pretty astonishing. And here's an omnibus, and that word usually sells pretty well. And lastly, we're going to round it out again with Stephen King, who you know will always have a special place in my heart. And I guess there's also some seasonality there, especially these old vintage copies. The Dead Zone, which is one I actually have not read. Salem's Lot, which is an absolute classic. Night Shift, with 2 iterations of sticker damage. This one's gotten around. And also on the back, I think a lot of these are from Reader's Market, which I'm unfamiliar with. Hopefully that sticker comes off easily. Maybe that's like a airport bookstore. Dark Half. This is probably in the best condition out of all of these, although it's definitely the book I enjoyed the least. Misery. Awesome one. I have sold a few of those red leather library collections that I showed last time, and they were hard to photograph, man. Here's The Stand. I've sold this one before. Pretty cool cover. Like the gradient. Christine, there's one I haven't read. And I'll probably lot these up as well. Just vintage Stephen King. I'm not sure if any of these are first edition, but that will come with the research phase that will come after I film this video. Not the most exciting. But these I like a lot better. These Signet editions, not as old as the others, but when I first started reading, my mom would take me to Borders and I'd go right to the horror section and I'd see a shelf just full of all of these. And I'd see which ones I had read and I'd see which ones I was interested in. And it's very collectible, each with their own color, like I was showing with those Lord of the Rings books earlier. And on a shelf, they just look really nice. It, definitely read that one when I was too young. God knows the long-term effects it's had on me. Cujo, I've actually not read that one. Insomnia, that was an interesting one. Probably put it on my top 10. And Night Shift, which has the best coloring out of all of these, for sure. And that is what I got. I think when I make these videos, I'm going to start adding a coupon into the description, like 15% off a book or something, because I do appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.